Archangel Michael says, the wind is shifting tonight, and something heavy is about to fall into your life. Not physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, a storm is ready to break. It starts with a man whose name you do not know, but who has spent weeks watching everything connected to you. The man is a private investigator, hired without your knowledge, working in silence, hiding in shadows, collecting what he wasn't meant to find. He had photos, recordings, and even a written report with your name at the top of every page. But just a few hours ago, someone caught him, and the report slipped into the wrong hands. This wasn't an ordinary case. This wasn't about business or legal work, this was personal. And what makes it worse is that the person who hired him is someone very close to your life. God says this truth is too heavy to hold in silence any longer. Someone didn't just want to observe you, they wanted to expose you. But the exposure turned into a trap for the one who ordered the investigation, not for you. Type Amen to get blessing 333. A car had been parked nearby for several days, and inside that car was a man watching, listening, waiting. His instructions were clear: capture moments, steal silence, and send them back to the one who paid him. But the man went further than expected. He followed where he shouldn't, and entered a place that led to his discovery. That moment, everything shattered. Authorities got involved, not because of you, but because he crossed a line that placed him under arrest. Now, the report he created is in the hands of someone who is planning to bring everything out into the open. Archangel Michael says, you were not meant to be destroyed by this. The one who tried to break your dignity will now have to explain their actions in front of more eyes than they ever imagined. God is intervening, not just to protect you, but to expose the deeper layers of lies tied to this event. This isn't only about you, it's about a network of people who have been watching others for months. Your case became the center, the most shocking among all. You have to prepare for sudden attention and urgent messages. Type Amen to get blessing 541. Some images taken without your knowledge are now evidence in a case larger than anything you expected. What was meant to harm you will now serve as proof of someone else's betrayal. God says their plot was not greater than divine truth. There was one name that kept appearing across multiple pages of the report. That name belongs to someone you once trusted, someone who pretended to protect you. But in secret, they were feeding information to the investigator, hoping to ruin your future. They underestimated the power of divine timing. Just before the damage was finalized, something triggered an alert, and now the truth is burning through layers of secrecy. You are being protected, but you must not ignore what's coming. Inside the hidden compartments of that man's bag were memory cards, receipts, and contact numbers that linked him to people in your past. Not just one, but multiple people who had something against you. And now, their names are all written on a document that is in someone else's possession. Type Amen to get blessing 972. God says the chain reaction has begun. What was meant to be silent is now becoming a public storm. But you are not the one caught in the fire, you are the one rising from it. They tried to use your image, your movements, your emotions as weapons. They failed. Because heaven has already prepared a way for you to walk away without scars. Archangel Michael says, not all battles are loud, some are waged in stillness, through emails, phones, cameras, and eyes. You were being observed by strangers, but now the watchers have been exposed. God didn't let the trap close around you. The man confessed part of what he knew, but withheld some names. He was afraid, not of the police, but of the ones who gave him the job. Because those names include powerful individuals whose plans were meant to bring down more than just your peace. Type Amen to get blessing 788. A woman connected to this operation is now missing. She knew too much, and before she could talk, she vanished. But she left behind a voice message that mentioned you, your name whispered with fear and urgency. The person who received that message is now preparing to meet with a legal body. Your name will be mentioned, but not in blame, in revelation. Everything is changing faster than expected. God says, your energy disturbed the darkness around you. The light in your life forced hidden things to come out. Even when you didn't know what was being planned, your spirit was already shaking their intentions. A court file is now being built, and it holds names, dates, photos, and one folder titled Final Move. That folder had details about you. But what they didn't know is that God would break it before it reached the intended hands. Type Amen to get blessing 664. People around you might start acting strange. Not because you did something wrong, but because they know the truth is close. They fear being exposed. Watch for someone trying to call you anonymously. Ignore it. That voice is not meant to disturb your peace. God says your protection comes from the heavens now. Archangel Michael says, you will receive news in less than 7 days that will confirm what you're reading here. Don't panic. Prepare your heart and listen closely to your intuition. You will begin to dream of moments that feel oddly familiar, because they are connected to the silent observation that was happening. Your memory will start returning. This is no coincidence. Type Amen to get blessing 190. A letter that was never meant for you is now being forwarded to your address. Inside it, there are 2 names and a warning. This letter will unlock everything that was once hidden. The person who delivered the information that got the private investigator arrested is someone from your past. They didn't do it for money. More is being uncovered than you could ever imagine. This is not just about a man with a camera, it's about layers of betrayal reaching back years. Files found on his hard drive reveal names you haven't spoken in years, all connected by jealousy, envy, or revenge. One woman, in particular, stands out in these findings. Her voice was recorded in one of the secret tapes, giving instructions, clear, cold, and cruel. She didn't just want your image, she wanted your downfall. But what she didn't know is that her voice would become the key to her own exposure. Now investigators are turning their attention to her, questioning her actions, her intentions, and her lies. You are no longer being followed, they are. God says, this moment will flip everything upside down. The pain, the confusion, the silence, it's all leading to your divine breakthrough. The enemy has been caught in his own trap. Type Amen to get blessing 682. Another twist is coming, and it will shock even those closest to you. Someone who pretended to stand by you was secretly forwarding information about your routines and habits. This person smiled in your face while selling your peace behind your back. They handed over your details for personal gain, but now they've been identified through payment receipts and email trails. That person thought they were invisible. But divine justice has traced every step they took. You may not want to believe it when you hear their name. It will hurt, but it will also free you from depending on false support. God is replacing betrayal with loyal allies. Archangel Michael says, "Let the dust settle. What's broken will be replaced with something stronger. What's lost will be returned in ways you didn't see coming." Type Amen to get blessing 820. Your name is being whispered in legal rooms, not in accusation, but in awe. Because you stood through what was meant to crush you. You didn't even know you were the subject of an investigation, and still, you moved with grace. The man who got caught tried to erase your identity from his files before being arrested, but it was too late. The system preserved everything, and now his files are being used to bring down the real enemies. You are no longer a subject, you're a witness. The people who funded this entire operation are now hiring lawyers. They know what's coming, and it terrifies them. They never thought this secret would leak. But God says nothing can remain hidden forever. Everything done in darkness has now reached its limit. Light is uncovering every shadowed act. Type Amen to get blessing 744. There's also a confession letter being written now, by someone who used to be part of the scheme. They've reached their breaking point. And in that letter, they write your name and the real reason they turned against you. Not because of anything you did, but because of what they were told. Lies shaped their actions, but the truth is cracking through their heart. They're coming forward, not to seek forgiveness, but to help restore what was damaged. God says, you don't have to open the door to everyone. But you must open your heart to what's true. Discernment is now your greatest power. The woman you once helped during her darkest time is one of the names revealed in this secret file. She joined forces with others, forgetting your kindness. But now, she's the most exposed of them all. Type Amen to get blessing 888. One photograph in the investigator's files has become a central piece of evidence. It shows a moment you don't remember clearly, but now it's being used to clear your name. That one frame is becoming your turning point. The people who feared your growth decided to build a case to silence your voice. But what they didn't know is that your destiny is unshakable. Their fear is proof that your presence is powerful. Archangel Michael says, the hour of truth has arrived. And those who whispered about you in secret will now have to speak your name with respect. Your silence was your shield, but now your truth will become your sword. You don't need to chase justice, justice is chasing them. Everything you didn't see is now being revealed. And what they tried to bury will now rise in your favor. Type Amen to get blessing 905. God says this event was a spiritual test and a divine revelation wrapped together. Your peace was never truly gone, it was just waiting behind the curtain of truth. Now the curtain has been pulled. There's one file in particular marked Phase 2, and in it, your full name is listed next to a false accusation that never came to light. That accusation was supposed to ruin you. But it failed because heaven stepped in first. Someone in law enforcement is now protecting you. They've seen your name, and they know what was meant to happen. They're keeping your details safe as everything unfolds. Your protection is divine, but also earthly now. Doors are being shut behind you. And new ones are opening that will take you into a future that your enemies tried to block. Type Amen to get blessing 417. Watch how their stories crumble. Watch how they turn on each other. They cannot hold their lies anymore. A second investigator has now been identified. He worked under a fake name. But his identity was discovered through security footage and bank transactions. God says no lie survives when truth is ready to roar. The investigation they started has now become an investigation against them. Their plan to break you has now broken them. Archangel Michael says, "Rise boldly. Do not fear the noise. It is only the sound of the walls your enemies built, collapsing." Type Amen to get blessing 527. Someone is about to come to you with trembling hands. They will offer you a device, a phone or a drive. What's on it will confirm everything written in this message. There will be a moment of stillness before the shift. That stillness is not fear, it's heaven giving you time to prepare your heart. Because when the news comes, it will change everything. You're not alone in this. Silent helpers have been positioned to shield you, protect you, and clear your path. God's strategy was silent, but successful. This isn't just victory. It's vindication. You are stepping into a new chapter where nothing and no one can hold you back anymore. Type Amen to get blessing 318. The court documents will mention your name, yes, but not as a suspect. You are the one who endured, the one who rose, the one who remained untouched while others fell. They tried to damage your life, but instead, they triggered your destiny. Soon, a reporter will reach out. Don't panic. Say nothing until the right moment. God will send clarity before words. The voices that once cursed your name in secret are now being silenced by their own shame. They won't dare to mention you again, not after what's been revealed. Archangel Michael says, the time for fear has ended. Stand with grace. Your name has been written in places they cannot reach. Type Amen to get blessing 1017. And now, the final pages of this story are being written, not by the investigator, not by your enemies, but by God. This is your restoration, your elevation, your reward. You will look back and see how all the darkness had to unfold so the light could break through. The man who was caught has now admitted everything. He told the truth because he saw a divine presence in the middle of his destruction. He saw your strength, he saw your purity, and couldn't carry the lie any longer. God says the cycle of betrayal has ended. Now begins the season of divine compensation. Get ready, what's coming next is not punishment, it's promotion. And those who try to expose your pain, they've only ended up revealing their own. You are the light that couldn't be dimmed. The story ends with your name standing tall. Type Amen to get blessing 390. And now everything hidden is surfacing. The one who tried to pull strings behind the scenes is being watched by the same eyes they hired. Their emails are being monitored, their messages being traced, because they crossed a spiritual and legal boundary that cannot be ignored. The people they trusted to carry out their plan are backing away one by one. Some are even confessing, hoping to reduce their involvement before it's too late. And every confession carries your name, not in guilt, but in truth and clarity. God says this isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of your freedom. There's power in being still while heaven fights for you. And now the battle has shifted entirely in your favor. You're not walking into exposure, you're walking into elevation. What was meant to humiliate you will now become a platform that pushes you into the light. The people who doubted your strength are now whispering about your resilience. Type Amen to get blessing 266. Authorities have now contacted 2 major platforms to retrieve deleted posts and hidden digital files. These are messages written by your betrayers, messages with your name, photos, and private details. But what they meant to use against you is now being used as evidence to bring them down. There's a time-stamped document created late at night, a list of people they plan to contact to spread falsehoods about you. But that file was found and intercepted. It never reached the public, and now it never will. God says the trap has backfired. And the ones who held pens and cameras are now facing the weight of their own setups. You, on the other hand, are about to walk through doors they tried to lock. There's also a lawyer involved who didn't know the full extent of the plan. But now that lawyer is stepping back and sharing names before being dragged into the chaos. What they reveal will tie together every broken piece. Type Amen to get blessing 474. You may soon receive a request to testify or share your version of events. You don't have to be afraid. The truth is already defending you, and your name has been cleared before a word ever leaves your mouth. A woman you once sat beside in peace has now been named as a silent accomplice. Her part was small, but it was rooted in envy. And now she, too, must face what she tried to avoid. God says, keep walking. Don't stop to look back or question why they turned against you. Everything they tried to hide has been unsealed. The final file they created, marked Last Evidence, had your face, your words, and a sentence written in red ink, take them down. But that file will now take them down instead. Type Amen to get blessing 115. Archangel Michael says, there are angels around you now that weren't there before. Because this battle needed backup straight from heaven. Every breath you take is protected. The car that once sat outside your home is now in police custody. It had multiple tracking devices and stolen footage, but you're no longer being tracked. You're being watched over. That man, the investigator, has started speaking names that were previously untouchable. And your name keeps surfacing in one sentence over and over: they were innocent. They didn't deserve this. You were chosen not for punishment, but for preservation. God hid you in plain sight and let your enemies expose themselves. This is not just a turnaround, it's a transformation. Type Amen to get blessing 877. A box of physical evidence was delivered to an office today. That box has photos, IDs, maps, and documents with your initials. You weren't supposed to see it. But now it's being used to justify your innocence. One person on the opposing side is planning to flee. They can sense what's coming, and they don't want to be around when it all breaks open. But it's too late, the system already knows where they're going. God says every escape route they plan will turn into a dead end. Because truth is faster than footsteps, and justice is louder than fear. You don't have to chase anyone. Someone is watching all of this unfold quietly, and they are planning to reach out with help and favor. They've been waiting for the perfect moment to step in. That moment is almost here. Type Amen to get blessing 319. Your phone may soon ring with an unknown number. You won't recognize it, but the voice will be calm, respectful, and full of truth. They will tell you what happened behind closed doors. This voice will bring confirmation, not confusion. And with it, you'll finally breathe a sigh of relief you didn't know you were holding. Archangel Michael says, what you didn't fight for is still being won in your favor. This is grace in action, justice in motion, and protection in full force. Don't let fear speak louder than faith. Someone who watched you fall before is now witnessing you rise. They can't stop it, they can only watch as everything they tried to block becomes your blessing. Type Amen to get blessing 701. There are still a few files that need to be uncovered, and they will be. One of those files holds something very specific, a voice memo that confirms who gave the order. When that file is revealed, everything will make perfect sense. God says, your delay was divine. The things you thought were setbacks were actually saving you from being in the wrong place at the wrong time. You were protected without even knowing. Don't worry about the people who walked away. They were never meant to be by your side during this reveal. What's coming is too sacred to share with the wrong hearts. The energy around you is shifting rapidly. Dreams will become clearer. Warnings will sound louder. And peace will settle deeper than ever before. Type Amen to get blessing 609. You were under attack silently, but now you're being lifted publicly. This is the season of reversed tables. The one who tried to watch you fall is now being watched by the same systems they once controlled. Archangel Michael says, your name is safe now. No more whispers. No more shadows. What was hidden is now powerless. There's still one message left to be delivered. It's coming through a channel you least expect. But once it arrives, you'll know everything written here was divine truth. Let the world see what grace looks like in the flesh. Let your story echo through places they said you wouldn't reach. You are walking into a chapter no enemy can erase. Type Amen to get blessing 1124. You were chosen for a reason. Not because you were weak, but because you were strong enough to carry truth through fire. And now the fire has burned everything false around you. The story ends with justice. It ends with peace. It ends with your head held high and your path made clear. God has written a new chapter, and it begins now. Stay grounded. Stay aligned. And know, nothing can stop what heaven has already approved. Type Amen to get blessing 414.